This is a Nintendo Switch. The Nintendo Switch has a lot of games, as you can see, because I own so many games. From first party into third party, which if you've been along the road of the Nintendo systems, third party can sometimes be a little bit of a tricky topic for Nintendo systems. Obviously the Wii U was a system that a lot of people felt that failed because of its lack of third party support. But with the Switch, it's no different. The Switch has probably something different than all of the other Nintendo consoles, which is strong third-party support. But with that being said, there's also bad third-party support for the Nintendo Switch. There is some horrible Switch ports out there for third-party games. And in this series, we're going to be doing part 8 of the top 10 best third-party video games that you should be owning for your Nintendo Switch. So sit back and enjoy another 10 games to add to the ever-growing list of games that we reviewed on this channel. After we're done with this will make 80 third-party games that we have reviewed onto this series, which is crazy to say, and I'm going to make my dream a reality where we end up having 100 third-party games reviewed onto the Nintendo Switch. So 2 more parts coming this year. Without further ado, let's get into this awesome list of games. Starting off, number 10 is going to be a turn-based RPG game called Redemption Reapers. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you when it comes to Redemption Reapers. If you like story-driven games, if you're an RPG fan and mainly focus on the story, this game is not going to be for you. The story of Redemption Reapers, I'm just going to be honest, it's garbage. It feels like, honestly, I'm supposed to be hyping this game up, and I'm about to tell you why you should get the game momentarily, but from a story perspective, it seems like they just took characters that got rejected to be in the Lord of the Rings series and made a storyline based off these rejected Lords of the Rings characters. That's how I feel about the story. However, the battle system of this game is incredibly fun. The levels are incredibly fun, and I feel like the main gameplay of the game is some of the most important things with this game that makes it so great. So if you can get over the fact that it has terrible stories, it has a really good level system that I think you guys would really enjoy if you're a fan of these type of games out there. And the voice acting is pretty good. There's a lot of voices that sound similar to some of the people that I know of in today's video games. I don't know if that's true or not, but either way, the cast that they have here does a pretty good job. It's just, like I said, if you focus on the story of RPG games, this is not going to be fun for you. And I mean, look at this awesome cover. I mean, does that not look incredible right there? That's the only reason why I bought this game. I had a feeling it was going to be garbage, and then I put it in, I was like, wow, this is actually pretty good. Coming in, number 9 is an action-adventure game, which is called Liberated. Now, Liberated is a very unique game for me because it's something I have never played before in terms of what its unique style is. Now, I don't know if this style exists because when I was on the phone with Coleman showing him this game, it seemed like this kind of style existed, but Liberated did it a little bit different. Liberated is basically a comic book game. So you are reading a comic book, and in the panels, there'll be cutscenes, and then all of a sudden the next panel would jump into the actual level of the game. And it will keep doing that throughout the whole issue. I think that is a very fun concept, and Liberated does a very good job with its art style. I'm a fan of this black and white art style that it has onto the Nintendo Switch. I feel like it really captures the idea of a comic book, and it reminds me, at least how the art looks, kind of reminds me of the beginning issues of The Walking Dead. So when I was reading the actual story and seeing its art, I was like, wow, it kind of feels like I'm playing a Walking Dead comic book game set within the 6 issues. And this game can be multiple different things because at some points it becomes a stealth game. And at some points, it becomes a choice system game, where you're making choices to concede with the story. And there's totally different options you can do. One of them, I'm not going to say what, but I think I've made a big mistake in one of the choices I made because I messed up big time. And it also has quick time events. I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but I am a fan of quick time events. I feel like it's something we barely see in video games nowadays. And to see that still being a thing, I think is pretty cool, and it goes really well with Liberated because of its comic book style. Not to mention, its story is very unique. You're getting multiple different stories from different people's perspectives of what's going around in this world. I'm a fan of it because in the opening part of the game, you're kind of like in the resistance of this world that's being taken over by like the government. It's a very unique story, and I think for the price that you're getting this game, I think a lot of you are going to have a very fun time with this. And if you're a comic book reader, I feel 100% for sure knowing that you will like this game. Without a shadow of a doubt, you're going to really enjoy this. Coming in number 8 is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade, is it Wrath of Mutants? Yeah, Wrath of Mutants. Now this one's actually unique. This is actually a port from the Dave & Buster's game that came out, I believe it was either in 2016 or 2017. Don't remember exactly. This is a recent release that had just came out, kind of out of nowhere. It got announced, I think, literally a few weeks ago at the time of this recording, and now it's out. The game, for me, I had an absolute blast, and one of the reasons why I was really excited for when this got announced to be coming to modern day consoles is I am not a fan of the Dave & Buster's version of this game. I feel like a lot of the times when you got these beat 'em up, like in today's beat 'em up arcade games that comes to places like Dave & Buster's, they really rig it where you have to pay multiple times to play the game to finish the game. I had a group of my friends, actually at one of my birthday parties years ago. We went there and we had a decent amount of money to play the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles games, and we were dying pretty fast. It felt like the game was purposely doing it where we needed to use that Dave & Buster's card to put more tokens into being able to play the game, which sucked because I didn't like using that much money on one particular game. You know, you have so many games out there, Dave & Buster's, you want to experience other stuff, and it just felt such a cash grab that they were doing that. And the bad part was, we were really enjoying it, we just didn't want to put more money into it because some of the times we were just dying way too quick. With this, you don't have to worry about any of that because this is $30 and that is it. You don't have to worry about the microtransactions or anything like that using that Dave & Buster's card, because when I played this by myself, very simple to play. Didn't have all those issues that I was having, and it surprisingly runs very well. Typically when you're doing stuff from an arcade, sometimes people just don't care about optimizing it for the console and it looking good. It looks exactly the same that it looked on arcade, and I was kind of expecting it not to really run well when I played this game, but from what I played, I'd actually already beaten the game. I didn't have a single frame rate issue. Granted, I played by myself and not with 4 friends, which was probably going to be the one issue I have with this game, is there's no online with this game. I guess probably what ended up happening is Nickelodeon thought, hey, this is probably not going to be a big release, so why waste the money to have servers when it's just not going to do well for us? Because a lot of people were just not really that excited for release. I was, however, very excited for this release and had a great time using the $30. Now, if you want an online experience like a arcade beat 'em up, in a few minutes you'll see something that you'll really enjoy. But if you're by yourself and have friends, or I think even by yourself you'll have a good time, you will definitely have a fun time having this at a party. I think this for $30 is well worth it, even by yourself, and this game is definitely going to go on sale. $30 is just the regular price for it. I thought the $30 was well worth it, especially with how well it ran for the Switch, all things considering. Coming in number 7 is the Blob. Now, the Blob is actually a game I hear a lot of people talk about. And interestingly enough, the Blob, the first one, was actually a Nintendo Wii exclusive back in the day. When the Blob 2 came out, it came out on all consoles. And this new remastered version, it started coming out on other consoles too. But for me, I never played the Blob. It always looked like a very interesting game, and as I played this game, I can't help but feel like Splatoon was heavily influenced by the Blob. Because this game is kind of like Splatoon, but without the guns and having to cover, well, I mean, actually you do cover a lot of the world. Basically, the storyline is there's a resistance out there. You're the resistance trying to save the world, and these villains have taken over the world, and you gotta cover the world back together and make it back to what it was, because these robots are ruining the world. This game has a lot of fun levels out there, a lot of fun challenges. I had a blast with the Blob, and it is a very cheap game. Now, the one thing that you're going to run into, at least with the Switch version of this game, cutscenes look absolutely horrible. They did not upgrade the cutscenes. They made them widescreen and that is it. And then there was times that the frame rate was dropping just a little bit. It wasn't too noticeable, but it was weird to have these type of frame rate issues for a Nintendo Wii game. And this came out pretty early into the Switch cycle. However, for Blob, I think it's normally like a $20 game. I think you're gonna have a fun time with this game, especially if you're a Splatoon fan and love the idea of covering things with ink. I think you're really going to like this game because it has that concept just with no guns. Alright, I told you guys I would give you an online experience game that you can still play single player, but you can have an absolute fun time with the online version of this arcade beat 'em up. Coming in number 6 is Castle Crashers. Castle Crashers is a game a lot of people have been talking about for over 10 years. And for me, I have never played it. I just recently played it with my friends Coleman, Luke, and Sly, and it was fun. Granted, Coleman made the game very annoying at times that a lot of us don't want to actually play the game anymore just due to the fact of what Coleman was doing in the game, because he was doing just annoying things to be funny. And I guess when you're around people that don't think you're funny, you're trying to be funny after all these years of people not laughing at you. And Coleman was just trying to get that experience of people actually laughing at him.
You know what, Max? You're right. I'm not funny. I'm just not funny. Do it.
No.
Awaken your inner self. Do it. Do it. What?
And nobody laughed, but that's okay. We still all had a fun time playing Castle Crashers because these levels, these musics that are in this, the music's incredible, Castle Crashers. And if you're a fan of this studio, they actually have a lot of their references of the other games that this studio has made within this game. You can actually play as a lot of the characters. This is my first time playing this game, and I really wanted to play Alien Hominidus, whatever that alien game that they made. I always thought that game looked really cool, and to see that those characters are actually in this game I thought was really cool. If you're looking for a arcade classic beat 'em up game in today's time with online play, this is one to pick up because it is very cheap. If you're playing it on Switch, it goes on sale for like $5 all the time. This is going to be a great experience if you want an online game to play with your friends, or like I said, if you're at a party and like these type of games, this is one to definitely grab for the party. Coming in number 5 is a side-scrolling run-and-gun game. That game being Broforce. Now, Broforce is a game that's been out for a very long time. Recently, the physical copy just came out, and I've always looked at this game, but I've never taken the time to actually play the game, or even interested really in buying it. It was one of those things I wanted, but I didn't want to just commit to it yet. Recently, I decided to commit to it. I'm glad I did, because this game, I did not realize, has so many parodies of today's classics, really, in movies. All of a sudden, you'll have like a Terminator, you'll have Blade from Marvel, you'll have Ash Williams from the Evil Dead series. Basically, Broforce makes all these popular characters and just name it with like Bro Williams or something like that. The game is super fun, and the further that you get into the game, the more difficult it gets. Because when I first played, I was like, wow, this is really easy. A few levels down, I was like, wow, this is really annoying. This is really difficult. How am I gonna beat this? This is a very fun game that you'll see go on sale a lot, and if you get the physical copy, you get the DLC out there. So this is going to be a great game to have, and if you're a fan of those Contra type games, this is going to be one that you're really going to enjoy because of its references, and especially if you're a fan of just movies, I think you'll really like this just because of the fact that you can play as so many different characters that they're heavily referencing. Like, you can literally see that it's Blade. You can literally see they got Will Smith, but the Men in Black version of him in it. It is so cool and so ridiculous, some of the stuff that you can do in Broforce. Very glad to finally pick this up. Coming in number 4 is a game that a lot of you guys have actually been telling me, hey, why is this not into the series? And now I'm here to tell you it is finally into the series. Coming in number 4 is New Super Lucky's Tale. Now, I think this is such an interesting game because I actually remember as a kid when this game got revealed, over at the Xbox E3 presentation. I just remember seeing the screen go black, and all of a sudden you see this orange little creature just walk around, like run very fast, and the whole chat and the audience was going crazy. They're like, oh my gosh, Conker's coming back, Conker's coming back, guys. And then this game immediately had its footage roll in, and everybody in the chat felt so defeated. So when this game came out, you know, I think a lot of people saw it as, it's not Conker, I'm so disappointed. So I think some people missed out on the game just due to its depressing storyline of people thinking it was Conker when it got revealed. They knew what they were doing. I truly believe that this company intentionally made it look that you were getting a Conker game. However, this game does feel heavily inspired by a lot of the Rareware games out there. You'll have a lot of references to Donkey Kong Country into this game, it feels like, and then it's collectathon stuff that you can do in the game. Reminds me a lot of games like Banjo-Kazooie and Mario 64. This is a very fun game that surprisingly looks and runs very good on the Nintendo Switch. I have not once ran into a frame rate drop yet within this game, which very much surprises me considering how big this game really is and how much you can do into this game. The loading screens can sometimes get repetitive, and I feel like a system like the Xbox Series X or PC would probably be very beneficial to play this game if you're not a fan of the loading screens. But either way, for the on-the-go experience, this game is going to be great for you, and I think it's a very cheap game you can still get out there and goes on sale a lot of the times. If you're a fan of the Rareware games or collectathon games, the SpongeBob old school games, because those are collectathon games, this is one to look out for, and definitely one you should have in your collection that you'll have a lot of fun with. Like I said, it's got Donkey Kong Country references because at times it becomes a 2D game, when the majority of the game is definitely 3D. But these 2D levels definitely feel inspired by Donkey Kong Country. Coming in number 3 is one that I had thought was already into the series, to be honest with you. I just recently found out I did not put this into the series, so I was like, wow, we need to put this in the series right away. Coming in number 3 is Cuphead. Cuphead is one of those games that is, you know, there's memes around it. It's the Dark Souls of its genre. Cuphead is very difficult. Does it deserve the title of it being called a Dark Souls of its genre? I don't know. I mean, me and Alan, if you guys remember Alan, Alan's the GOAT, shout outs to him. Me and him actually played this in the last house, and we were very excited for Cuphead when it got announced for the Nintendo Switch. I bought the game. We were like, oh man, this is going to be so good. We're going to complete Cuphead. It's going to be awesome. Us in our room, we started playing the game, and let's just say both me and Alan started yelling at each other because of how difficult the game was. And at one point, Alan actually walked out of the room. So I was by myself playing Cuphead when we had the 2-player mode. I'm like, Alan, what are you doing? We're going to die. Oh my gosh, what are you doing? It was an interesting night. You know, we haven't had a game night since, but Cuphead could still be a great game if you're a single-player guy. You might just want to be careful playing it multiplayer with close friends because you might just hate each other after that. Just how me and Alan do. I'm joking, we don't hate each other. Cuphead is a very fun game too. It recently just got its DLC. You have a lot of content within its game, especially with how difficult it is. You're going to be playing this game for hours and hours. It's definitely one to pick up, and especially if you're a fan of that cartoon style that Cuphead delivers, which I think is such a cool style out there, you'll have a fun time with Cuphead. Definitely pick this one up. Coming in number 2 is, I think, the first time we've ever put a game like this into the top 10 series. We're actually putting a full-on puzzle game that plays with physics, and it's actually really fun. It's going to sound boring when I talk about it, and probably the gameplay that you're going to see is going to look boring, but trust and believe, this is a very good game. Coming in number 2 is Manifold Garden. This game looks absolutely beautiful. When I played this game, I just had to continue looking around its world rather than playing the puzzle. I just was amazed by how good this game looked and how colorful it can get. The world of Manifold Garden is something beautiful and something truly peaceful to play. I am horrible at these type of games, but I'm getting through Manifold Garden. I'm going to finish this game, and I think a lot of you guys would probably really enjoy this game because the puzzles out there get very unique, especially when it plays with the physics of things. things. I think it's very cool, and it's not something I've really seen with Manifold Garden, games that are like Manifold Garden. I've never seen the way that it's done puzzles just how Manifold Garden has, let alone a game that looks just as beautiful that Manifold Garden does with it being a puzzle game. Because some of these puzzle games out there, people don't care about making it look good, which is understandable why. This has everything perfect. I'm telling you, you should really look into this game. It's a different type of game for me, but I'm telling you, give it a chance. And I think once you play through those minutes of the game, because when I show gameplay, when I tell people about it, they're like, basically that's the type of reaction you'll get when you see people playing Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne. Trust and believe, you won't fall asleep playing Manifold Garden. You will, however, fall asleep playing Nocturne. Don't play Nocturne, play this instead. Coming in number 1 is honestly very surprising that this is at number 1 considering the company that's making this game, because back in the day, you probably wouldn't have expected to have this company be so highly ranked, at least with one of its games, because they're still not the greatest company out there. But this game was really amazing. Coming in at number 1 is Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. Wow, what can I say except the Switch version of this game is incredible. Ubisoft did something that I think was very unique that I don't think any developer has done with its third-party, at least these third-party developers, I'm pretty sure have never done this before. What they did with Prince of Persia is they actually made the Switch version be the main version that they were working on first. This was like the basic build of the game. The developers were developing for the Switch, and then afterwards they developed for the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, so forth. And because of how Ubisoft developed this game, it's actually 60 frames per second on the Switch, and if you play it on other consoles, it can go up to 120 frames per second. I feel like that what Ubisoft did with that whole development trick right there could really lead to a lot of third-party games coming to the Switch if they developed for the Switch first and then focused on these other platforms, at least the 60 frames per second model of it, or even a locked 30 frames per second, because that I feel like can work for the Nintendo Switch for a lot of these third-party games that aren't out on the Switch, and if they are on the Switch and are running horribly, they can run good, and this game just proves that. It's a Metroidvania game. If you're a fan of Metroid Dread that just recently dropped a few years ago, this is going to be one that I think you will really enjoy. And the best part about it, well, I guess it's unfortunate because it's not selling well. So it's going on sale for like $20 pretty often now. And this game is worth its $50 price tag. I'm telling you, you will be amazed playing its game. The countering system is fun, and when you mess up, you truly feel like you messed up. The game gets really difficult at times. It is a fun journey playing this game, and I've actually streamed Prince of Persia a lot, so you might see me stream this game again if I haven't already finished it yet by the next time I stream this game, because this is going to be a fun game that I do plan on finishing, and is probably one of the best third-party Nintendo Switch games out there that I've played, in my honest opinion. Like, if I ever made like a definitive top 10 list, which I'm not because that would just be too difficult, this would be up there, I think, with how great that this thing runs. It's probably like a top 5 best third-party game of all time in terms of its Switch, for the Switch versions at least. Definitely pick this up if you have the opportunity. Guys, that is the 10 games for part 8 of the best third-party games you should own. Now, I want to know what you guys are thinking. We are doing 2 more of these videos and then we are done. So there's only going to be 20 more games into this series. What games have we not done yet? I mean, there's still a decent amount that I have yet to put onto this list, but I want to hear from you guys. What are games that you guys are hoping to see in this video series before it ends? Let me know in the comments down below, because the countdown is on. The final 20 in the final 2 videos of this series. It's coming to an end. It's crazy to believe that I started this back in 2020, and here we are, about to say that we've reviewed 100 games. Let me know what you guys are thinking in the comments down below. What do you think of the games that I selected for this video? I want to hear everything. Let me know some of your favorite third-party games in general. And if you feel like there's something I'm missing out, or you dislike something that I put, let me know. I love talking about this stuff in the comments down below. Backslash that subscribe button, become a MONADO Marine for $5 a month. You get access to these cool emojis out there. Coleman uses them all the time. in my streams. He loves being a MONADO Marine. Follow my Twitter, follow the Discord server. The Discord server is going pretty crazy because right now, at the time of this filming of this video, I unexpectedly ended up in a video game donkey video. I don't watch the guy, but my phone's been going crazy over being in the video. People are sending it to me. I'm like, oh wow, that's not in the bingo card for this year, but that is pretty cool. Anyways, I have been talking for way too much. I hope to see you guys in the next video. Peace. By the way, y'all rocking with this new Nintendo New York shirt that I'm wearing? Oh my gosh. By the way, I gotta change my clothes because I got this awesome... Hold up, you know what? I'm gonna show you guys. I know none of you guys are gonna care about this, but look at this. Look at this. So tonight, Spider-Man 3 gets re-released in theaters. I'm going to be wearing this Venom shirt that I found. It's like a Hawaiian style. I'm gonna put my Venom t-shirt under... Bro, it's gonna look sick. I can't wait to watch that. I'm actually heading over there now, so I gotta go. I gotta change clothes. Oh my gosh.